Hey, Highpoint. Easter at Highpoint was special this year. Whether you attended in person or you watched online, there was something special and there was something different about this year. Maybe it was the first time in a year that we've had over 100 people in the building at the same time. Maybe it was the baptisms. Maybe it was, as I talked to some people, it was just gave hope. Seeing people again for the first time in a year, getting to worship with people that they haven't seen in over a year. Maybe something to do with that. Maybe it was just that we had a full band leading us in worship on Sunday. But there was one moment in particular that really caught my attention. This one moment, very distinctly remember that it was a moment of unity. A moment where it was no longer those who attended first service and those who attended second service. It wasn't this moment of, well, I'm in this theological camp and you're in that theological camp. And as Gino said, it was a moment where it didn't matter what side of the mask debate that you were on. A moment where we all gathered to remember the living hope that we have in Jesus, the love that God has for all of us. We celebrated and cheered for those who committed and gave their lives to Christ, and we were all united in this moment, and it was beautiful. This last year has brought on many moments that have distracted us and many moments that have divided us as a church. And I'm not just talking about Highpoint, but I do think we are guilty of it too. But I fear that the church as a whole has failed to live up to the new commandment that Jesus gave us. And I'm not sure that people recognize us, that we are Christians, because of how we love each other. I'm not sure that they recognize us because of that, and they don't see that we're united in one spirit. And sadly, maybe they recognize us as Christians because of how we can't get along or how we can't seem to get our stuff together. And if we're honest, I'm guilty of it. And if you're honest, at some point in the last year and a half, you've been guilty of it too. So today I want to take a second and I want to ask you to check your heart. I want to encourage you to check your heart on two things. Paul tells us in Ephesians 4 to walk in a manner worthy of your calling, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit, just as you were called to the one hope that belongs to your calling. One Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all. First way I want you to check your heart is this, are you eager? Are you making an effort to maintain unity of the Spirit? Not just with people at Highpoint, but with all believers, maybe people in your neighborhood, people in your workplace. Are you eager? Are you making an effort to maintain the unity of the Spirit? 1 John 3:11, John tells his writers, you've heard this message from the very start. It is not new. It is not a thing that I'm making up here on the spot. You've known this message from the beginning, that you should love one another. In verse 16 through 18 of John 3, or 1 John 3, John makes it really practical about how to do this. It says, by this we know love, that he, Jesus, laid down his life for us, that we ought to lay our lives down for our brothers and sisters. But if anyone has the world's goods and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart to him, how does he have God's love abide in him? Little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth. Love is not just this special feeling that we can throw out and say that we have love for someone. Love is shown by how we care for one another. So heart check number 2. How are you caring for other believers? Are you caring by word and talk? Or have you closed your heart off to another believer because of a disagreement or misunderstanding? Or is your love being displayed in deed and in truth? You can disagree with other believers, you can disagree with me, but are we still welcome at your dinner table? Maybe you were watching this and going, Tyler, this is out of left field. I have no idea what it is you're talking about, and that's okay. But I ask you to check your heart. Maybe you're watching this and thinking, finally, someone is talking about this, and we all needed to hear it. I want you to check your heart too. Let's check our hearts together. How are you loving and caring for other believers? And are you eager and striving to maintain the unity of the Spirit? I'm thankful for what I was able to see on Easter at Highpoint. I hope whether you watched online or were in person with us, that you saw it too. Because when we are a church and we are unified, it is beautiful.